game number 1. We do know that the carry should continue, and Nogari, in his only game on the red side so far, got counter pick, 5th pick on the red side, and that's been my most interesting thing to track. Who gets counter pick? Because there's no agreement. Some teams it's jungle, some teams it's bot lane, some teams it's top lane. So it's fun that everyone and mid laners are sprinkled in there as well. BDD had counter pick in game number 1, so that usually gives you an idea of who the team is playing towards, and BDD worked till he didn't, and KT were doing a good job till it just fell apart right at the last.
Pick ban looking somewhat similar, but an obvious and notable missing of Urgot here. The Scion is going to be banned once again, this time by KT. It was DWG the first time on blue side, so KT could be looking to first pick the Urgot, as the Lucian is going to be banned out.
Is sticking out a little bit like a sore thumb when it comes to the first picks you'd consider, but the Galio there too muddies the water a little bit. This could just be the solo lane matchup. The Galio versus the Urgot, seen that already so many times in LCK Spring 2019. So I do appreciate some bans towards the tank pool, but you can't get them all. Whatever Pokemon taught you, cannot catch them all when it comes to bans. DWG Gaming, do you take Urgot first round, or are you a team that likes to play it a bit differently? We've seen the teams that play it differently still exceed, and Urgot in the first particular round isn't necessarily a death knell that we'll see 5 of our most picked champions. Urgot is taken. I think with the Scion ban, you really are priced in to take it and flex it somewhere.
And the Rakan, Hoyt looked fantastic on that one. DWG not going to make the same mistake, we called it in the first draft, that KT did make in giving out that Rakan. The Xayah Rakan, obviously very strong and very reliable in the bottom lane.
Do you take Tahm Kench Draven here? You really could go for Tahm Kench Draven or Leona Draven first round. First round bold picks haven't worked so much. The Karthus jungle yesterday, for example, plenty of time to adjust picks. Ideally, you're 5th picking a Draven. Kai'Sa would be towards the more normal tendency. Gengo played a lot of this over in the LJL. Funnel, no funnel, has been a very, very common pick in the last year or so. Hard crowd control from the I want to say the Smeb, but the Galio. And so yeah. Kai'Sa will be first rounded, probably into Xayah Rakan, because certainly wasn't broke, and it'll be no surprise to see Nuclear and Hoyt return to that duo.
Will they forego the Tahm Kench here? Looks like they really did not like the Nocturne Galio. I was thinking about it themselves, but instead they pick up Leona Kai'Sa for a more aggressive bottom lane.
I actually feel like that particular hover does very little, because Xayah is actually way better against Nocturne than Kalista. It's a very simple equation of I have Featherstorm, I am okay. When it comes to the hard engages that were deleting Kalista, and an afterthought, it was definitely a Gango chained to the gray screen in that particular game. He wants to be unchained in this particular game, and the Nocturne will be banned anyway, so I actually wasn't moved by the Nocturne hover, but it seems like DWG Gaming, safety first.
I suppose when you have so many threats, right, you can Featherstorm most of them, but if one sticks onto you, it can be hard at times. Maybe just better safe than sorry in this case. Nocturne, a lot of power shown in game number 1. Rise going to be the ban here by KT. Don't want to have that into the top lane, potentially.
We're in a really intriguing spot because, remember, in Korea, Galio is a true flex pick. Over in the LEC, we did see the Corki versus Galio in the remade game of Fnatic versus SK Gaming. And the Corki, which is played by Pyrian, had a field day. But we don't know if Galio is mid lane in this game. It's in Galio's support and Galio top. So even Galio counters are kind of an intriguing thing, whether you see KT ban them or whether they just leave them up and continue to deal with the flex. What is banned, what isn't banned, the flexes. There's so many mind games with all the flex picks out there that we really don't know how it shapes up till literally 20 seconds in the draft. We've had metas where you knew when a champion was locked in where they were going, when all 10 champions were locked in. Now we still have to wait to 20 seconds because crazy stuff can still happen. This might qualify as crazy stuff. Canyon actually has access to his Kha'Zix. Has been a very frequent ban and was his most impressive champion in the Kesper Cup. We remember his play a couple of days ago against Gen G where he just rocked the backline again and again of Gen G.
Camille comes out here. I wince a little bit just because Camille's recently have not been doing their jobs. Not going to name any names, but Camille comes out this time for Score, as he's going to show the youngins how to play on the Camille.
And I'm willing to say some names. Remember, Peanut was against Canyon when his Camille went askew. And what I want to talk about with Score is that just like these older crop of LCK junglers, it's never been a big pick here. The Camille from Score is not one of his impressive champions. I think of Lee Sin and Camille as a couple of gaps in Score's champion pool. They do have Galio Camille, and Nogari says, 5th pick on the red side is mine, and I'm going Vladimir one more time.
This was the pick where if you watch that and you're not sure who this new name is, it was that one game where he just dominated in the top lane, and then just in the team fights he was essentially going 1v5, it felt at times. Nogari's Vladimir is something to have KT shiver at. They're not going to be happy about that one. At least it is up against the Jace. We'll see if King in this time on the more aggressive pick, can he make the early game his? We'll have to wait and find out.
DAMWON's draft is pretty risky, though. They have Kha'Zix and Vladimir as their jungle top lane duo. Very little synergy between those two, except lots of damage later. Is really the only take-home story there. The Vladimir in lane against the Jace will take time, like with all Vladimir lanes. And KT's comp, damn, does it do what it wants to do, which is jump on one person and have a big gargoyle join. They have a lot of ability to gank lanes. They don't quite have the GP to load an ult to go bot lane, so the bot lane focus isn't quite as high as some of the other comps we've seen, but very strong engage and should snowball very easily. If you keep a 5k gold lead as KT, the enemy team has to wince in almost every scenario. But those first sets of globals, if that first hero's entrance isn't pulled off, who's to say that Nogari doesn't show up with 4 AP items and do to this opponent what he did to the last?
Yeah, it feels very comfortable for DAMWON, especially in their picks as well. We'll see if they can pilot that to a victory here in game number 2. Once again, let's hop onto the Rift. The DWG chant actually sounded louder than the KT chant. That's something that I haven't really experienced in a while. KT generally one of the bigger fan groups here, but perhaps just getting used to the LOL park.
I find myself really calling myself on certain languages because the used tos, the used to be's, the past is feeling like for once it might remain in the past when it comes to some of our evaluations about 2019. Griffin seemed to have a huge fan base from the first time we saw them, and we will be seeing them in our second series, guys. After the break, we will have Griffin versus Jin Air. So if you're a Griffin fan, watch that. If you're a Jin Air fan, maybe don't. That could be quite the series.
Skip that one and just wait for the sad plane or glad plane.
I think that's probably how you want to receive the news. You don't want your Griffin fan to walk in and lord it over you, but you can accept the happy plane or the sad plane.
Well, definitely will be one of the more one-sided matchups we could imagine in the second matchup, but this one very close. I'd say the first game was close enough. A couple of mistakes on the side of KT, and all of a sudden DAMWON slowly began to run away with that one, but there was so much action that it really could have gone either way.
Score has gone for a cool path here, so he starts red.
Ooh.
And he will be going towards the enemy blue, mainlining main camps. It also plays to his item choice. If you want to take only big camps, Machete's the right way to go. So, he himself hasn't been, I believe just on the tail of the vision there was spotted, because they have 2 wards to spot this, pinged out by Score. So we'll see probably some vertical jungling enacted here by the Kha'Zix.
I'll have to wait and see if he does go for that one. Score very sneaky. Is going to be spotted now on the scuttle with that blue buff. So, as you were mentioning, does know about this.
Now,
and Canyon in the pick ban, they banned the Nocturne Xin Zhao. He gets that Kha'Zix first pick, and then they saved the counter pick for the top side for Nogari's Vlad. He also got Showmaker on something very comfortable on the mid Urgot. So I was a big fan of the way that they were able to pilot the pick ban phase, especially also picking up Zyra Khan on their way to those 3 picks.
And I'm actually a really big fan of how Canyon played out this jungle pathing, because we saw the double ward was down. They know that a lot of Camille's and Scrims are going from red to enemy blue. The reason why I compliment him is, if you look at what his camps were and what his lanes are, we knew Kha'Zix would be dealing with a Vladimir being pushed in at top. We like Galio for wave clear in the mid lane, and the enemy jungle is likely to invade. So that's, of course, the red flag early game of, oh crap, things are bad. His camps he cleared were Raptors first into red and Krugs. That gives you level 3 without having to actually exit your jungle because of the extra experience in your Krug camp. That's the only after then did he walk up. As we see if he has smite up, he does.
He does, and he leaps away. And steals the blue.
He only walked up to the river when he was level 3 and had the ability to leap. That's the only time he took any semblance of a risk, because otherwise he's level 2 trying to slowly kill Scuttle Crab and dies. To a Camille hook shot, he only then contests blue, knowing that he still has his leap up. That is the most risk-averse way not to get screwed over by an early game that was 2 winning lanes topside and also the enemy jungler with a very early skirmishing advantage. So it's actually really inspired pathing, even if it looks boring.
Well, you could say the guy knows his jungle. He is the Jug King, of course, that guy on the ladder. We thought it was on fleek, but it's actually Canyon, and he knows his Kha'Zix as well. Loves his Kha'Zix. Knows he needs that leap. Good thing to point it out there, having a fun jungle so far, but Score himself not left wanting. He also has done a nice job of clearing all the camps very fast here.
Like getting a bonk on the head, as Leona is wont to do to the Rakan. CS-wise, actually been some control bot side. You can see that every lane is paying the price for the jungle matchup. Every lane is just being a little less cocksure than they might usually be about pushing up and being aggressive. They're just being defensive, and I can understand that. Scaling-wise, we really like Vladimir taking over this game late, but late doesn't always come in this particular meta, Valdez, and Kingen just wants to keep being a bully, and I think bullying is the way to go, so I'm endorsing bullying for Noguri on the side of KT.
Yes, in this sense, in League of Legends, bully him all you want. That's what you're meant to do on the Jace. Kingen, he had to deal with the Jace. He'll be happy to do the bullying this time. Nuclear in an awkward spot, but they're not going to go that deep, although Snowflower, you know he would have loved to get on that one.
Showmaker walks up. He's going to take some pain here, but Score says that's a little bit too far.
Score just watching. He's taking a little break, you know. He's had a long day in the jungle.
He's had a long career, 7 years in. He gets to, you know, he doesn't have to gank every time. He gets one gank off.
Yeah. He's showing that wise old man patience, too. You know? He's not being ultra aggro, just waiting. He says, no, BDD. This isn't the moment. Maybe next time.
When will be the moment? Because Camille with no ganks, pre-level 6, always a bit of a struggle. A small point that we couldn't actually ruminate too much on in game number 1 was that Nocturne took the Inspiration Tree second and went Futures Market. A rune that I think everyone kind of held their nose up at for too long. You know, it was a rune that is a really cool rune. You think of Blitzcrank being able to back at 700 gold and get his Mobies early and things like that. It is a rune with value, but junglers in Korea kind of have floated with it on and off. It hasn't been fully made into a meta, but the basic theory is if the early game is so damn important, and we know it is, turret plates are there's so many different golds and objectives you can snowball. If you can get your jungle item 200 gold earlier, go Futures Market, get the jungle item, and if the enemy doesn't have it and you do, you get so much power from that. So given all that, as we got some interesting interactions around the enemy red, Futures Market is coming in purely to allow you to mainline as much damage as possible to get that OP warrior enchant really early in the game.
Yeah, I always felt like Futures Market, once people figure out the timings and understand the game a little bit better in moments where they can use that rune, it would show its face from time to time. And here we go. We do have it in at least the first game. Not sure about the second game just yet. We'll have to wait and see. I see a stopwatch on Camille. It's possible that Score win for it this time. But either way, still waiting for that first kill of the game. Score still getting aggro. Going to try to take this blue buff.
He got it.
Once again. Takes level 6 as well.
It's a pretty small prize outside of the experience. Urgot doesn't really care. And obviously Kha'Zix would love it, but doesn't have that option. Now, this would be a much bigger prize. And they have all the reasons in the world to feel like they are comfortably going to take this. And, you know, if you're DAMWON, maybe you just have to say, damn, wish it wasn't Infernal this time because you are not set up to contest.
They'll say DAMWON. and back off. Give this one away. He doesn't even have to smite it.
Oh, look at that, though. They get the high roll here. If they're at the casino, they're feeling pretty good because Red's coming twice in a row, and they put all their money on Red with a draft like this. They wanted Infernals as much as possible in the early game because DAMWON have to take some pretty big risks to actually walk up to contest that objective. We talked about how the Drakes were probably low roll in game number 1, and the high rollers are KT Rolster in game number 2.
Feeling pretty good about it so far. Of course, when you do have Urgot Galio, we don't see too much action, although I think we did have that in the Faker versus UCal matchup yesterday. Okay, we're going hard onto Nuclear. Not quite able to catch him as Nuclear is there with the hot hands. Nice reaction time. Is able to get away from that engage.
You do wonder how his finger could be in position to ult that, because are you going to play your entire laning phase around a Flash Zenith Blade? Maybe the answer is yes at the highest level. Look, I'm a humble Pantheon main, as you know. When I'm feeling frisky, I get my Nasus on to get those skill shots really up there. So that was really good reactions coming through. Remember, Captain Jack Cleanse was the god tier play in the past, and now is the expected play, and Captain Jack's on the analyst desk. So what does it tell you about mechanics in League of Legends?
Canyon getting his own revenge in a way. And wow, a big fight up in the top side. Hungry looking for that empowered Q, but not quite able to extend the damage there. As both these players extremely low in the backside. Canyon now on a ward too, so can't quite. Okay, he's going to put down a ward. Nuguri getting really close to the sun here. He's got to be careful.
Execution's calling first purchase means no healing coming out from these trades from Nuguri. The empowered Q is mostly for damage, getting about 100 health back, which by Vladimir standards, not the most. Canyon was topside, like you mentioned. He's still here.
Snuck his way around, but now he's gone.
Is that the KT Rolster chroma for... I think it might be. I didn't actually...
Really?
I didn't spot if that was the KT Rolster chroma for Championship Kha'Zix, but I believe it is. It's definitely a chroma. I'm going to just guess it was KT Rolster.
If we could call out to the observers, we wouldn't really care about the game. That's the only thing we want to see right now. Did he go for the KT chroma?
I know you got the Afrika chroma.
Yeah, I used the Afrika one.
Didn't work out so well for you against C9.
I mean, I think every Korean team didn't really work out for anyone in Worlds.
I feel like I go the opposite way and embrace it and use my Genji chroma.
oh boy.
No.
It works even now into 2019. You're getting your value there, Papa Smithy.
Best part is I know for sure that Kevin Chu and Genji listen to the English broadcast.
Oh, no.
Oh, we have to watch our words, Valdez.
Well, here's to hoping they can come back in a big way.
It's got to be better next time, right?
Yes. Who's gonna take the engage? Who's gonna do it first? KT thinking about it, but it's so hard against Zyra Khan. And okay, they're gonna find the Kha'Zix.
Right.
See you later. First blood is on Vision there. They make that quick and easy for him.
Yep, that's why Canyon was a herbivore and was doing the 3-camp clear earlier. The least bloodthirsty Kha'Zix. He was the furthest away from locking in Dark Harvest this game, as we were outlining, and the first time he walks up to contest something, he instantly explodes.
Feels bad. I mean, it looked like Score and Snowflower were on the edge of Vision there. Maybe they just barely avoided it, and that's part of the reason why he got caught. We're going to have to consult the replay for that one, but Canyon himself was on Vision.
Oh no, he walked over a ward.
Yeah.
Classic mistake. Walking near a lane, instantly exploded by 700 CCs.
Is that the KT chroma?
It's
red.
I didn't look close enough, to be honest. Let's leave it as a mystery, because the mystery of his death was pretty straightforward. In fact, the only mystery is probably a waste of an ult by BDD. They overkilled him by 1,000,000 damage there.
Yes. He was dead. Kha'Zix can be slippery, but the leap isn't instant. As is the new Katarina Shunpo, by the way. That thing is amazing in solo queue. See a lot more Katarina nowadays. Still waiting for Showmaker to bring it into 2019.
I'm thinking that's not the KT chroma. Okay, Canyon. More respect than I might have expected.
Okay.
Want to say it's not. It's not. We might be dead.
Oh, boy. Does he have the kill here? Looking for that follow-up Q. Not going to have it. Nuguri gets the life steal here. Is going to be fine underneath the turret. But nice try there, Kingen, though. He does use his flash to try to get the kill. It is so close. The calculation just barely not there. Would have been a nice solo kill for him, and we know how Jace can push, so I don't blame him for trying to push that in.
And the way you extend this laning phase to be competitive for Jace is go Youmuu's Ghost Blade as your Dirk item, because the movement speed for extended trades is what you want. The poke trades, Vladimir hurts you and heals himself, and all Jace can do is hurt, so because of that, you desperately need the movement speed, because when you all in on top of Vladimir, the things come up for Kingen.
I know a lot of people are talking about damage in League of Legends nowadays. How about an Infernal for both teams? And we have lots of burst damage and ultra hard engage. And you got Kha'Zix, Vlad on one side, Vlad on one side.
What about Vlad?
Vlad. It's a new champion.
He sounds more Russian that way.
Vladimir.
Vlad the Impaler. Trickle in progress.
Score is not happy with only the blue buff. He'd like the enemy red buff too. Just going to have his way.
Summon an Airy used here. I believe that lingers the Executioner's Calling debuff, so it's actually pretty useful in that way.
Oh, he gets flashed on here by BDD, but unfortunately Canyon is able to use that ultimate to get away. So BDD, so many players on KT just getting so bloodthirsty, looking for big solo kills.
That was one of the weirdest flashes I've seen. It seemed like he flashed aggressively in fright, you know? Like he got a stage fright, and he was like, no, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. Which is, you don't normally see. You usually flash away. It was never going to be able to one rotation Canyon there. Maybe if he knew for sure Canyon's summoner was down, but he had flash. Yeah. Noguri walks up, but he won't be able to stop the Rift Herald going to KT.
That's the weird thing about Galio. I feel like, you know, once he came back and people started playing him AP, it's like you see someone, you know the amount of damage you can do, especially once you get that proto belt. It's just so juicy every time you see a squishy target. So can't blame him for getting really aggro there.
Damage ranges. Players know these better than us, for sure. The peanut gallery out here can only hope to get a glimpse into what BDD's mind was there. Noguri, he's got quite a lot of CDR and some armor, so he's feeling pretty good.
He's feeling just fine. Really fantastic sustain now on the Vlad. He's above level 9. But they're going for the engage. 2-on-1. There's the flash stun. But here comes Galio looking for that knock of a Nuggery. Huge amounts of damage. The TP cannot be canceled. They gotta save Showmaker here. He's the Urgot. Who am I kidding? He's totally fine. They're turning it around onto BDD. Nice stopwatch here. Good mechanics from him. But he's still gonna go down. And even Hoyt was here for the follow-up if they needed it. DAMWON off to a great start.
Extended fights for Vladimir. Can't take him down. Can't pin him down even with all the tools on the side of KT. That's a last pick working out for DAMWON. KT do rotate their duo lane mid lane to try to get some pressure. They will not get first turret of the game. That goes to DAMWON Gaming.
Yeah, they're looking at mid. I mean, they do have Gango and Kingen in there, but at the same time, bottom's getting low. Nuclear, well, he's able to chip away a little bit onto that one, but still good stuff there from DAMWON. Let's take another look at the fight.
Gotta choose your lanes carefully. They go for the Vlad, but Vlad, as we noticed, so damn annoying to pin down. I don't believe there was a healing debuff on him at the end, so he got full healing out of the Hemo Plague. Our evolve first on Canyon. We noticed that last time. It's cemented here again. BDD's got no flash, Valdez. He'd like one of those.
Burnt it earlier, trying to solo kill a Kha'Zix who had his ultimate available. That's that moment where BDD's going to be kicking himself. He could have lived. Perhaps they could have had a better fight. Maybe they could have even saved the turret if that mistake didn't come in earlier. So it's the little things once you get to the top level here. Pro players in Korea, of course.
And it's also DAMWON trading up before their comp should really have much agency. It does feel like KT should reliably outnumber and burst. That is what Camille and Galio do. Meanwhile, DAMWON have the hodgepodge of AoE team fighter, assassin jungler, a bit of a utility mid laner, and then Zyrakan bot side. So they really should only be able to go for aggressive plays when Vladimir is big, so Rakan goes in just to allow Vladimir time to get AoE. Because it's happening earlier, because KT are choosing the wrong fights, they're actually getting objectives and trading up before they really should.
It's kind of unfortunate they weren't really able to visit the Vlad lane before level 11 as well, because we always mention it, once he gets to that level, it's so hard to kill him, even with all of that damage, and even with the Galio coming in for the follow-up. So Nuguri rather going to be really happy with this game. I can certainly imagine that this turns into a game where he just pops off once again once we hit, 25, 30 minutes. Score now looking for a gank in the bottom side. Lots of pings. I think they know about this, and yes, they do. The Rift Herald's going to be shown as KT looking for the push.
You channel it now because now DAMWON have to deal with two things. The Infernal spawns, the Rift Herald's charging. Let's see how DAMWON problem solve this. This is the sort of thing you can't necessarily assume from these very young and talented solo queue players. But because KT don't make more than a half-hearted move towards the Infernal, DAMWON actually get out pretty easy.
Yeah, it seemed like kind of an awkward angle there. King and no TP, a little bit separated. Nuguri has his as well, so they didn't want to get flanked or just die in a big team fight if they get caught by the Rakan and all that engage, I suppose. So, gonna give that one away, and it looks like now Canyon is gonna go for the start onto this one.
Doesn't have the Q evolve, so it takes a bit longer. Here's the engage.
Looking to engage onto Rakan, but now it's Snowflower that gets turned upon as nobody is helping him. And there's that TP I was talking about. Two really squishy members in the backline. Here comes Nuguri, 1v2, takes them both out alone. What a play by him, and now BDD, he can't get out of this one, trying to go 1v5, but see you later, kid. You're going to go down 5v1 as DAMWON opened this game wide open.
Nuguri does it better. This guy is so good. His timing's on the Vladimir. This is why I am always worried about the lingering threat of the scaling Vladimir, because apparently level 13 is late enough for him to show up, take down the backline, Malphite Orianna alone. The duo we know from Solku, the silver duo, Malphite Orianna. Feels like Vlad's both of them because no one can peel him away. And this is after just too late of a contest from Snowflower, and Score and Gango just killed as an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, Nuguri catches them both. Perfect TP. You got to admire the wards as well to get him in position, but definitely a mistake there from KT, trying to go for the late engage. Snowflower gets caught, kind of baits his two squishy members behind him, and unfortunately out of position and outplayed in that one, where KT, DAMWON saying, we're looking to take another 2-0 today. Thank you very much.
Coach Kim Jung-soo comes back after winning Worlds with Invictus Gaming and looks like he's going to have plenty to smile about in week 1 of the LCK. 2-0 week seems like it's going to happen. By the end of today, we could have Griffin and DAMWON 2-0. And Sandbox, one best of 3 away against Hanwha Life, I believe it is, to make that potentially a 6-0 for some of the new teams here.
It's a King Zone, actually.
King Zone.
Tomorrow.
Similar as a matchup they could definitely be seen to win. So
absolutely.
Right now, it does feel like these young players with very little veteran stars continue to push up. DAMWON's most well-known name to the global fans will be Nuclear. Did, of course, play on Sonic Boom, but then more famously on H2K over in the EULCS in 2017. But player who's been around and never been able to take it to the next level. He doesn't need to be the hard carry on this team, but he also hasn't been making frequent mistakes either.
Very just reliable and solid. I said that many times about Zyra Khan. They get it twice, too. I mean, KT essentially just give it over, you know. In game number 2 draft, you can't really say that, but in game number 1, absolutely. They could have gone for that Rakan pick instead of the Xin Zhao early. And either way, that's going to be something to go back to the drawing board, as Nuclear and Hoyt look fantastic on Zyra Khan.
And also just, we see on fleek, Canyon. These guys play the Camille, and it looks like a different champion to when Peanut and Score play. And this is very much a generational thing, but these younger players, these solo queue talents, play Camille like the Camille against you in solo queue that you know is going to be there to contest every buff.
Yeah.
Peanut had to flash his Sejuani when he was taking his red buff because he was interrupted mid-flight, you'll remember, this week already. That's the sort of aggression you need. Instead, we see the power farming Camille's that just don't work at the highest level. And because of that, we just feel what's happening. We feel the undercurrent. It's not just my words. It's not just my prediction. You can see that these players, and with where the game is at in terms of the game pace, DAMWON seem like they're fitting it like a glove, and KT are trying to come together. But at the seams, you can definitely see some of the areas where it doesn't fit.
I mean, already the storyline is the new blood rises for week number 1, and I wouldn't be surprised if they can keep it up as the weeks move along here in LCK. It's still early. We'll have to see where all these teams do place. But how about another solo kill here to Nuguri? He's looking for it. Not quite able to get the solo kill. Gets him below half health at least. Very scary that Vladimir now 3-1.
Surprisingly respectful because he has no control wards on the bottom side, so decides maybe best not to go full Rambo. Didn't have flash either, so the chase potential they're starting to fall away. Mid lane.
Well, there's Nuclear once again, but this time he's got the engage on him. But Gengo gets super low. He goes down first. Both AD carries disappear. Canyon in a lot of trouble. Is going to have to leap that wall score. Not quite able to leap the wall in the same way, but either way, 1 for 1. Both AD carries seem like just bait here in most of these games.
It looked like desperation when Score came up short and couldn't use ult instantly onto Nuclear, but remember, TP advantage for the Jace means no way for Noguri to get there, and Vlad having no ult and no flash meant that Kingen would always outnumber. So that was a good play by KT. That is, once again, veteran shot calling, but because Canyon escapes on half health, they can't get a Baron from it, and they probably needed a Baron to get this game back into their control.
See, Score misses the stun there, so the Featherstorm does get up, but they use so much just to kill him. They finally get him in the end.
See, Vlad is bot lane. The mini-map is the true safe. Vlad is bot lane with no Hemo Plague. Thus, you wanted an answering Baron for that much investment. A kill onto Nuclear is not worth it. And Nuclear, bless his heart, didn't even use his summoners. He knew he was dead, and he knew there would be a better time to fight with those summoners.
Yeah. He's that guy saying, hey, you needed to use 3 ultimates just to kill me? Really, guys?
No. That guy would have used his summoners and be raging in old chat.
True.
This guy is like,
he's
well,
the smart challenger player?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
The fabled smart challenger player that we hear will be there in challenger, but just like when you climb to your new personal best, you quickly realize that it's a lot like the place you were before. Where is it, Yellow Heaven?
Basically.
Where is it?
You're in silver, you're basically challenger.
But you hear about gold, right? You hear about gold players as a positive thing, and then you get there and you're like, wait, no. And then you get to platinum, like, wait, no. And then diamond. And then all the new tiers they introduce, Yellow Heaven is perhaps never really there. But Nuclear, you know, maybe he is that one shining light.
Especially as it feels like the attitudes of the players, especially in Korea, as you get higher up in ranks, seem to get worse and worse. Out of that opposite correlation there. But Nuguri looking for another 1v1. There's that Hemo Plague. Now he's going for the all-in. Has that Proto Belt. Barely survives. Kingen on under 30 health is able to get away from that. The rest of his team was looking to come back in to help, but now Nuguri, he's back at full health.
20 health for Kingen right at the end there, so would have been overkill by a Scorch or 2 at this point. He lives for that, but they know that Kingen's got no flash, no health, no time. They're on the Baron.
And no TP. Nuguri's got his. They're going to turn away from the Baron, though.
Notice that Showmaker would have had the global taunt of Switch to Smite come through from the Unsealed Spellbook, so double Smite burst range here, 2 levels above Score. Is Showmaker's Smite. Back away from this K. As Nuguri will continue to push, and now BDD is the one to hold him down.
Yep. Suppose he can try to clear these waves and just be a bit of a rock, a solid rock in the bottom side on the Galio, even though he is down 2 levels. Might just be better, can get all in a little bit less frequently than the Jays.
He's less accountable when he's trying to wave clear. He just needs a couple of gusts of wind and he'll get the job done eventually. KT walk up into the red side here, and Canyon continues to need to be very, very defensive. Canyon is the only real person who's been held accountable by KT, and our observer shows us that in an AoE, Vladimir's doing a lot because his hat's looking pretty sweet.
He is so unbelievably fed. He's got 309 CS at 26 minutes and 45 seconds.
I like how we're even showing his Q damage.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, these numbers are big for 26 minutes.
He's just unbelievably fed with the hat. Has a couple of active items, too, just to make him even more scary. Vlad especially good with the Zhonya's. You get all your cooldowns back. Potentially even get back to your pool once again to give you even more survivability.
Oh, good. He's level 17 now. And he's got 3,000 health because that's how Vladimir rolls. When Vladimir really works in the meta, you're reminded of just how disgusting a champion he is. And the best counter to him is blowing his teleport, and he's not being there. That's what you're hoping for. If this guy RSVPs for your party,
he's got 2,000 gold available.
Yep. And he's got a lot extra. This is definitely the guy that you maybe consider not inviting to your all-you-can-eat party.
Yeah.
If you have an all-you-can-eat buffet, you put his face on the wall and you say, nope, no Vladimirs may enter.
No Vladimirs for sure. You want to bring in the feeders, though. Feed everybody. And Nuggery here, he's still pushing. Nearing level 18 now. And they're going to start it up once again. Just 3 mana here as Urgot's in the top side.
They have a deep ward on the walls. That is where the flank teleport will come from the Vladimir, but they actually have some closer ones as well. No really good choices here for KT. They don't even have a sweeper to try to clear out, but they are getting DAMWON off the Baron purely by the amount of time they're taking to check.
Sandbox, look at this. Study it a little bit and say, oh, you know, we have some nice Baron damage, but we have pressure in the side lanes. Just push with your side lane. Let the Vlad do it. Don't get impatient and wait for the right timing, the right teleport moment to go for the flank. That ward you were talking about was actually pinged out by DWG Gaming as well with an assistance ping, so that's exactly where they were looking at to go in.
Well, the natural spot is around just behind the curved part here next to where the mid lane turret would have been for KT to contest vision, because you put a sweeper down, you feel like with the wall you're going to take less damage, and if Vladimir can flank that spot, triple kill is an afterthought for Nuggery. So he now has his go fast boots. Uh-oh. He has an Oblivion, not Oblivion Orb, but he now has the completed Spellbinder in order for some Nikes, a Ryzen Vladimir item usually, and yeah. KT don't have too many good options. There is no counterplay to Vladimir if he closes the distance. So the next time that they get their control wards down, and do notice that DWG were finally exhausted out of vision to hold vision around Baron to make a Baron play. They had to back. Now you look at the inventory and the control wards are back. And that's when Vladimir will probably be there as, you know, he's a pretty good jungler at this point in the game.
Sure. I mean, take Drakes. Maybe even take Baron, you know. He's got some good damage. He is now level 18. Kingen at least not too far behind. He's only level 17. Canyon, though, oh boy, you're going to get blown up. That's a mistake, just face checking in there when he doesn't have vision. They had some deeper vision, but a couple of control wards means that KT are able to sneak a kill onto the jungler, and now they want the Baron.
One of the few times KT feel like they have control. No enemy smite, except for Showmaker. Watching on the back end here, they know Nuggery's around.
They're so scared of him.
They need to be. They need to be, Valdez. This is correct. Even though... But what do you do? If in so many different scenarios you lose the game, do you just try anyway? Maybe a 50-50 is the best KT's ever going to get.
I love this view.
It just sucks that in so many different ways DWG have them outcomp. I think they have to make this play, even if it feels bad.
All right, they're going to try for it. Canyon, 5 seconds. Nuggery trying to build up to that empowered Q. Snowflower nearly disappears as the rest of KT doesn't join him. Score a little bit late, but they're looking for Nuclear, and they get him in the backline, but Nuggery himself takes out 2 by himself. He's looking for more than triple kill. He burst down Galio. Where did he even go? Unbelievable damage from the Vlad in this game. Nobody can touch him. There's the slow on the Gango. Why even use your item there? You are so dead, my friend. And Score, the only one left alive with his Guardian Angel, as Vladimir himself is going 1v9.
The only thing that takes 4 hits to die from this Vladimir is a damn control ward. Everything else dies faster, Valdez. There's nothing anyone can do. Score has a GA, but he's got nothing else. And DWG Gaming finally will get the Baron.
Wonder who's going to have the most damage in this game. Really curious about that one. Nuggery here, he last picks the Vlad into the chase, says, give it back to me. And we're nearing the point where this might just be perma-banned against him or perma, you know, just played against him.
Watch the Galio die here. This is the part that is actually the most
surprising.
Because at the start, Vlad doesn't get the flash ult he wants. He ends up just using it, saying, well, Snowflower will go down. And then he takes out Kingen. That's pretty standard. Kingen's like, well, I'm screwed. But watch BDD, who's at 1,300 health and dies till 1 round. 1!
It's just 2 abilities. It's just EQ. But it's enough.
Can you see why I respect the Vladimir?
Always respect the Vladimir when he has 4 items. Now he's probably got 5. And I don't think there's an answer. You have to get the perma stun. That's the only way he dies. You can see that KT, they're on the same page with me. Snowflower, what the hell are you doing?
How many do we need? How many? They decide that 3 is not enough. They're like, no, can we? They're considering it. How about some more?
They're like, Jace, where are you?
Oh, come on, this is dishonorable. 1v3 is much more fair. Get away, DWG Gaming.
This is so funny. They can't get on him,
They can't 1v3 him. They will die.
I mean, you got TP on Showmaker, too. He'd be there in time. Take a look at the damage here. Canyon, he doesn't even need to play the game anymore. He can just take a seat.
He wasn't there, Valdez.
You can walk away.
He was dead.
He was dead the whole fight. Just exit the game, Canyon. We don't need you anymore. 4v5 is enough, and 1v9 is very palpable right now.
I think Nuguri, as a 5th pick on red side, is a pretty good win condition for DWG Gaming. So maybe win on blue side. That seems to be the way to go forward.
Hey, game 1 was close. They had that going for them. I can't imagine the amount of solo queue Vlads we're going to have after this game as well. Top lane, mid lane, bot lane, every lane. It will be coming in as DWG Gaming now are just pushing in all the lanes with their Baron. They take 2 inhibitors super easy. KT, tail between their legs. Snowflower's level 12. You can't get near the Vlad. You're going to die instantly.
It's waiting for DWG Gaming to feel like they're ready for it. They don't have Flash on Nuguri. They got everything else, though.
Yeah, they're looking for Nuclear here, but he seems to be the wrong target as Score is going to have his Guardian Angel blown. And here we go. The Wombo combo comes in. And see you later, KT, as Gengo is going to disappear on the map alongside everybody else. Nuguri, 1 combo, see you later, double kill, and there you have it. Double kill for DWG Gaming on the next side. They're going to win 2-0.
Double kill for DWG Gaming on KT Rolster, the reigning champions, end the first week. 0-2, 1 game win, 4 game losses against Hanwha Life, and now DWG Gaming. The new blood continues to excel. DWG, Griffin, Sandbox now have 4 match wins between them, and it could be 5 after Griffin plays Jin Air later.
The scariest thing about this team is that there's so many threats. You have such a reliable bottom lane. Showmaker is so clean. Canyon, the new face in the jungle, so mechanically skilled. And then you have probably your best player in the top lane who can just do stuff like this and solo carry a game essentially by himself. We weren't even talking about anything else in the game except him on Vladimir because he was such a titan in this game. And they're a team of solo queue monsters while having an amazing coach, a world champion coming in. This team is maybe even scarier than we originally thought, Papa.
And the funny thing is, if we talked about anyone else, we would have been doing Nuguri a disservice because the Vlad was so out of order in that game. One of the biggest single champions we've seen in a very long time in Korea. And there's some of these signs out there. There'll be more next time as the story of DWG continues to get louder. And I actually got something that makes me more scared than that Vladimir, Valdez. And that's the fact that we actually saw DWG Gaming with their jungler in a disadvantage. They had a skirmish disadvantage. Their jungler died very early in the game, and yet it still went to plan and they won. We thought that maybe hold down Canyon and everything around him would perhaps fall apart. Yeah. Canyon was held down. Nuguri did the rest. And if they all have each other's backs, and we know already that they're so solid when it comes to mechanics, the brain part is also not going to be too much of a concern here. Their macro was very strong here. Like you said, shout out to Sandbox with their struggles with Baron compared to a very smart Baron setup on the side of DWG. If you're really smart and really, really good, then you're just great. And it seems like DWG Gaming, based on the first week of LCK, is pretty great.
They're great. They're right up there towards the top. And we also have to address KT. Now 0-2 here in the first week. They go down to Hanwha Life and they go down to DWG Gaming. What is a team that they're going to be able to beat after these couple of teams? Hanwha Life looked better than we expected, but KT also, struggling a lot here in this one. I would have to say also that Snowflower on the Leona and the rest of his team a little bit disjointed. They get this kill, but then after that, the teamwork just didn't seem to be there.
Felt like DWG had the answer, and the moment that Nuguri got the double kill on the turret, the sinking feeling would have been there for KT Rolster. And to your grander question about what this means for our reigning champions, I think it means struggles. Just like SKT halfway through spring knew that things are going to be really hard last year, I think KT Rolster already know. I think they once again understand that just like when we evaluated SKT's 2017 roster, KT and Kingzone we had a lot of questions about, and none of those questions have been answered. There's nobody really holding their head high either. They've got Smeb on the bench. He wasn't even playing this series. I don't think he would have changed too much based on his performance a couple of days ago. Score and BDD are on paper the god-tier jungle and mid duo. They could not pull off enough in this particular game, and they don't even know who their bot lane of choice is. So a lot of time, I think, needed for KT. Maybe the second round robin is what they're already looking towards, but let's zoom in on the winners. Let's talk about DAMWON Gaming. Really good feels for them here, and especially on the red side, they seem like just one of the terror teams to face.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, they might even be the best. Maybe just behind Griffin. We'll have to wait and see as the week comes along. Nuguri just owned every fight after he started this game 3-0-1. We take another look at BDD dying. Maybe we can even get slow motion. No, just gonna zip away as the Galio basically didn't even exist in that one. So it's all about a fed Vlad with amazing mechanics doing his thing in this one. Not too much else to talk about. Smart Baron plays, and DAMWON looking like a terror here in the LCK.
The first time we saw the Nuguri Vladimir, it was about Vlad as a champion. This is just about Nuguri today, because this is when he gets fed. What can happen here? He was able to min-max basically all of his play. His damage, like we said, unthinkable in this particular game. I think he will win the MVP. I think his damage dealt is pretty ridiculous, because remember, in lane, he's taking it from the side of the Jace rather than giving it. This is very much a absorbing matchup for the Vladimir into, well, just getting to have his fun when 5 members come anywhere near him.
Nobody else had to do anything, right? I mean, they were helping him out, essentially. It was 4 supports and Nuguri in the top side. Canyon's damage was almost as much as Rakan, and it just didn't matter.
He has about 46% team damage dealt this game. Doing the quick maths there. Shout out to Quick Shot in the LEC. Good show yesterday. We're probably going to hear from him. How could you not give it to the man named after the raccoon? Nuguri, what a performance. Really good stuff. And this guy, like Snowfall was saying in the trash talk before, everyone knew he was good. But just because you're good doesn't mean you walk up to LCK and perform. BDD had a couple of decent games, but a year and a half later, after his debut in 2016 spring, it was 2017 summer on Longzhu, where he finally built a reputation. Nuguri and so many more players recently, ever since Griffin joined the league, it feels like every time a hyped player comes in, they're actually delivering almost instantly. That's more the norm rather than the exception.
Well, this is not a surprise, as Nuguri picks up his first MVP of the LCK 2019, 9-0-3. Score and Gango, it looks like they didn't even see the TP coming in. They just get bopped on this one.
But my grimace is it's 19 minutes in, and that already happens. He's already able to double kill the Kalista and, sorry, not Kalista, the Kai'Sa, and also score in the jungle there, and nothing that could be done here. Camille Galio wasn't going to contribute too much. The fights were when DAMWON decided. The fights were when Nuguri decided, and from there, just him doing massive damage in each of these highlight clips.
We get to see it again, in case you missed it the first 8 times. As Vlad's pretty good when he gets fed, and when it's in the hands of this guy. Pick up another kill here. Can't wait to hear from both of these solo laners, Nuguri and Showmaker. Guys that we've been talking about for a long time here. It feels like a long time, but they're relatively new. Coming up from DAMWON in the relegations, the promotions, I suppose you call it for them. And making a big splash in the LCK.
And LCK fans out there, whatever stream you're on, get used to a lot of people asking the question, who's this Nuguri guy? Who's this Showmaker guy? You're going to need to answer them, because these are guys who are going to be around for a long time.
Definitely very true. Well,
thank you very much, guys. This is Jisun with today's first interview translation, and today we're going to be joined by Showmaker and Nuguri from DAMWON Gaming. You guys are on a winning streak. How do you guys feel? When I first saw my schedule, you were facing a lot of strong teams. I thought it would be a very tough journey, and KT is one of the strong teams. I thought it would be much tougher than but it's really relieving that we pick up the victory today. What about you, Nuguri? What was facing KT like? Well, they're the rookie killers, especially Score.
그 신인 정글을 되게 잘 잡는다 생각해서 좀 긴장을 했는데.
He's really strong against rookie junglers.
오늘 되게
But Kenyon, our jungler, he wasn't really nervous and performing so well.
정말 다행으로 또 아주 멋진 경기력 보여주셨습니다. 자, 첫 번째 경기 얘기를 먼저
So, moving on to game
해보겠습니다.
one.
쇼메이커 선수, 우리 담원 게이밍이
I have a
초반에
question
약간
for you,
불리한 듯
Showmaker.
싶었는데 멋진 조합으로
We thought KT
아주
was
멋진
in a bit of a
흥행을
lead
많이
in the early game,
이끌어내셨어요.
but
진입 때
teamfight
큰
was the key to
고통
turn the game
누가
around. Whose shot call was it?
자, 갈리오나 녹턴이 이제
Mostly
다
Galio and
다음에
Nocturne.
거의
When we have
이제
our
나타나는
ults,
호잇 선수가 거의 각 보는
Poet,
편이고요.
who played Rakan, he makes calls to make us go inside.
정말 잘하시던데 갈리오가 한타 때마다 도발로 아주
Especially, there were a lot of taunts on the enemy players with your Galio.
갈리오
Is there any
잘하는
tips?
방법은 그냥 딱히 없고
Nothing
갈리오가
special.
너무 쉬워서
Galio is so
그냥
easy.
제가 약간 MVP라고 했을 때 좀
So I was a little bit surprised when I heard that I was the MVP. I thought Howitt was the MVP on Rakan. I was happy, but a little bit surprised. I mean, you know, Galio is easy. Everyone can do this.
쇼메이커 선수처럼 할 수 있는 거예요?
Are you sure everyone can pull this off?
아,
Yes.
네,
No tip for Galio.
갈리오는 쉬운 챔프고 팁은 딱히 없는 걸로 네 그렇게 들었습니다.
So Galio
오늘
is easy,
쇼메이커 선수
confirmed.
우상이라고 했던 BDD
And
선수
Showmaker, you made your
만났어요.
idol
울산드라의
BDD.
활약도 굉장히 좋았는데 실제로 같이 플레이해 보니까
How
어떠셨어요?
was playing against him like?
역시 BDD 형 너무
BDD is
같이
strong.
라인전에 서 있는데 뭔가
When I was
주변에
playing on my
아우라
lane,
같은 게 생기면서
I saw some kind of aura
제가
from
원래
him.
선부시를 좀 많이 할 수 있었던 것 같은데
I was able to push lane, but I was actually a little bit worried, so I was playing a little bit defensively.
네, 경기 전
I was really
인터뷰에서
scared of him.
디디 형님 사랑합니다 했던
And you
영상
said, "I love you,
보셨을
BDD."
텐데, 정말 지금도 좋아하는
Do you
게
still love him?
느껴집니다.
네.
네, 그리고 경기 중에 바로나 탐타가 끝나고
And after
선수랑
the Baron
시작하는
teamfight,
모습이 있었는데
you were chasing
저희 다
Snowflower
마음을
and Nuguri.
돌리면서 근데 결국 잡지 못하셨어요. 좀 아쉬우셨죠?
or Showmaker.
아 그게
You weren't able to take him down.
진짜 제가
Wasn't it really close?
솔랭이나 스크림이었으면 잡았을 것
If that
같은데
was solo
일단
Q games or scrims,
아쉽네요.
I would have been able to take him down, but I missed my
네, 좀
skill.
아쉬웠지만 하지만 멋진 모습 보여주셨습니다. 자 이제 두 번째 경기를 당연히
Then
얘기해
moving on to
봐야
game
될 텐데,
two.
너구리 선수 너무너무
Nuguri.
정말 뵙고 싶었습니다.
I really wanted to have you
네, 오늘
here.
첫 번째 MVP세요. 소감이 어떠세요?
This is your first MVP interview. How do you feel?
일단 MVP를 제가 그 챌린저스에서 할 때는 되게 좀
Well, at the
표정을
Challengers
많이
Korea,
받았었거든요.
I had a lot of MVP points, but
이번에 또 이제 같이 오늘 받게 돼서
getting
너무
my first
기분이 좋은
MVP at
것 같아요.
LCK feels
지금
really
시즌이
good.
시작되고 LCK 스프링에서 탑 블라디는 너구리 선수만 사용하고
So
계세요.
you're the only
블라디
top laner that
조합이
played
팀에서 많이
Vladimir on
사용하나요?
top lane.
블라디는 네, 좀 적당히 사용하는 것 같고요.
I think Vladimir is quite good on top lane, especially when you're playing team fight composition.
좋다고 하셨는데 아까 블라디가 나타날 때마다 저도 마음이 조마조마할 정도로 정말 무서웠어요.
You were the most
블라디
scary
잘하는 방법 있을까요?
Vladimir of
블라디는
so
일단
far.
블라디는
Is there any
블라디는
tips?
일단 좀 라인전에서 터지지 않고 좀 잘 성장하는 게
You have to
중요하거든요.
scale well
초반에
during the laning
블라디만큼
phase.
좋은 픽이 없기 때문에
It's really strong in the late game, so
급하게 하지 않고 좀
you
천천히
shouldn't really rush.
파밍하는 게 제일
Just
중요한 것
slowly you
같아요.
have to
네,
farm.
알겠습니다. 자, 너구리 선수 킹구리, 황구리,
So you're the
갓구리,
킹구리,
이런
갓구리.
별명이 있는
Those
걸
are
알고
all your
계세요?
nicknames.
말해주세요.
네, 어느 정도는 알고 있고
Well, I have heard of it,
기분이 다
and it feels really good.
좋고요. 좀 부담스럽기도 한데 좀
Sometimes it
으쓱하게
kind of adds some
좀
pressure on my
잘했을
shoulder,
때
but
좀 으쓱하게
yeah,
되는
still
것
feels really
같습니다.
good.
네, 오늘 정말 황제의
Makes me
모습을
feel proud of myself.
보여주셨다고 생각을 합니다. 너구리 선수는 스맵 선수 팬이라고 하셨는데
And you
오늘
also
못
mentioned that you
만났어요.
are a big
다음
fan of
경기에
SMAP, but you
만나면
weren't able
혹시
to meet him today.
어떻게 하겠다 이런 준비가 되어 있으신가요?
Are you ready to
개인적으로
face him next time?
선수랑 꼭 맞붙어 보고 싶었는데
Yeah, I was really
오늘은
looking
뭐
forward
만나보지
to
못하게 돼서 좀 아쉽고
fighting
다음에는
against
꼭
SMAP today.
만나서
So
좋은
maybe next
경기
time
했으면 좋겠어요.
I want to have a
이기고
great game
싶으시죠?
against him,
당연하죠.
네,
and I want to take him down.
자 마지막으로 기세가 지금 담원 게이밍에 굉장히 좋습니다. 팬분들이
So
많이
DWG
늘어날
Gaming
것
is on a
같아요.
winning streak.
시즌 각오
I can
한마디
say there will be a lot of fans supporting DWG. Is there any last message?
좋은 성적 계속 낼 수 있도록 더 열심히 할 테니까
I'm gonna make sure
잘
to continue this
지켜봐
win till the end of the split.
감사합니다.
네,
Thank you.
너구리 선수도
네, 지금보다 더 발전하는 담원 게이밍 되겠습니다.
We're gonna become
감사합니다.
better DWG
네,
Gaming after
담원
time after
게이밍의
time.
쇼메이커 선수 또 너구리 선수
So
만나봤는데요.
this will be the end
더욱더
of the
좋은
interview
성적
with
되길
Showmaker and
기원하도록
Nuguri from
하겠습니다.
DWG
저희는
Gaming.
다음
Thank you.
경기에서 돌아올게요.
Well, there you have it, Nuguri and Showmaker, of course. Kind of cute there on stage, you know, Nuguri's first interview
Yep.
here in the LCK. as he looked like a terror on the Vladimir, but a little bit more humble on the stage, saying, yeah, but, he's pretty good. I'm pretty good at that champion. Like to hear from him.
He wasn't too taken aback by some of the Godgary and other big praise for his play, though. I think he's heard them before, and you know what? I think you might hear them again. I think you'll have to get used to the big lights, the stage lights here, because he is one of the big hopes of the top lane. I'm just excited to see him face some of the other great top laners we have over here. And sadly, we did miss out on the Spam matchup, but second round robin, hopefully we get it.
Well, guys, this is kind of a weird thing to look at. KT and Genji down at the bottom right now, 0-2, the both of them. And DWG Gaming right next to Griffin up towards the top, who is next to Sandbox. SKT up at the top, I suppose, is a surprise compared to summer of last year, but with their new Dream Team also doing quite well.
If you were asked today to point to the 3 teams going to Worlds, do you get more by just going for the nameplates? Do you just try to randomly point at this board? There's a lot to think about when it comes to who will represent Korea, and it's also a lot of time from now. We still are very much in the early days, but the early days are doing a good number for the young players and the older players, and KT Rolster in particular. A lot of question marks about how to put a roster together that can be competitive with DWG Gaming, let alone some of the teams above them on the roster. Guys, once again, looking like we're going to have a bit of an hour break here before we get our second series of the night.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one. Will be fun, though. Griffin up against Jin Air. We'll see you in about an hour.